start today by telling you that I received a great act I guess you'd say, a great act of kindness last week by a group of people, and it's actually the name of the company is Triple Delights Blueberries. I was at the farmers market, one of my favorite places at Blackstone and Shaw, and I went up to the blueberry booth where they were serving blueberries, and they saw my Donald Trump shirt, and they gave me free blueberries. So I would like very much, the number is going to appear on the screen. Go to their website. They've got about a 2 week, I'd say 2 weeks to go before their season is over. And the blueberries are wonderful, the people are wonderful, and I encourage you to call these people and buy their blueberries. They are just absolutely fantastic. Anyway, if you recall last week I talked a little bit about my grandmother's favorite saying, which was, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired." Well, we the American people are sick and tired. We're sick and tired of these Islamic ISIS idiots perpetrating their beliefs on us, their hate, their destruction, and their ideological idiocy. We're sick and tired of it. And hopefully this generation, of course, is probably not going to do anything about it. So hopefully we can hang on, and President Trump will. Also, I received a lot of phone calls when I had Gary on last time, Gary Miguel, and he is back today. I'm so delighted to have him. Gary, how you doing, buddy?
Nice to be here, Ray.
Good to have you here
with you. It's an
and
honor.
We're going to sit and talk about just about everything. Probably what I'd like to start with now is Hillary Clinton. There is so much about Hillary Clinton, and
Right.
you might want to say a few things, Gary, and I will too. I understand that Donald Trump
He
did a
gave an
speech
excellent
yesterday,
speech
and I missed
yesterday.
that. Maybe you can enlighten me and enlighten the audience, and we can talk about that a bit.
Well, I remember when I farmed some in Arkansas when Clintons were governors then. Of course, I wasn't involved with anything or didn't even know who it was. But I remember the people there that I talked to, they would go, I said, well, who's this Clinton here? Or something like that.
He kind of came out of nowhere anyway.
I remember when he was very, I think 30 years old, he shook, or 20 in his 20s, and he shook Kennedy's hand. That's a famous photo. But anyway, what kind of got me was how everybody that I was in contact there said how crooked that was.
Oh my goodness!
That was going
even way back then.
And so I just, okay, I didn't really pay any attention to that much other than to say that we had a crooked governor. And I'll be darned if he doesn't end up president of the United States, and I
that must have been a shock for you.
Well, it was a shock for me because I had read a book that was written by, I want to say his name was Brown, but he wrote this book and exposed everything about the Clintons way back then.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, all that and it gets scary after a while, And I remember reading that book, and I was, of course, amazed by it. But at that time, he wasn't president yet. And I'm thinking, wow, man, this is a crooked bunch of people, And but anyway, I'll be darned if he doesn't come president. And I just couldn't believe how anybody could vote for those people, And so
lack of knowledge, isn't it?
Oh, it's just a total lack of awareness, And you can understand why you can't get really down too much on people because, after all we have is the media.
That's it, and people tend to believe what they see.
Well, of course, you hear it long enough and often enough. And the other thing about that media is I didn't realize it then, but it's owned by, the most powerful people in the world.
I can believe that.
And they control it.
Sure they do.
And it's totally controlled. What we receive on our TVs and our radios is controlled and not to our best interest.
Well, look, for instance, Donald Trump is a perfect example of that. All the negative publicity that he's gotten, and of course he's been able to get over that. But still, people tend to believe those things. I mean, the thing with the Ku Klux Klan was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you'd have to be an idiot to endorse somebody like that, but yet they told the people there, and there's a certain segment of the people that believe that.
Well, the way I've come to, I didn't want to believe it, but it is controlled by a group of people, both Democrat and Republican, doesn't matter, and to them, and but they control who we are and what we are, and do it in a very patient, malleable way that eventually we got a lot of people believe in that, or they're not aware, as we point out, and so what happens is get generations and generations, and this is a long process, and we're really at an apex right now, in the sense that there's enough people that are pretty worried about where we're going from here, right?
People are becoming more aware.
Right.
I think that things are coming out that are going to, very truthful things that people are going to believe. For instance, Gary, I was going to ask you about this guy, and I think his name is Fernando. I think ABC broke this, or one of the big three, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, or the New York Times, about this guy, and I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Fernando or Fernandez or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was appointed to a very prestigious board by an aide, in fact, it was suggested by an aide of Hillary Clinton's.
Right.
The man has no qualifications.
Zero.
But yet, when you look into his past, he gave millions of dollars to the Clinton
Right.
Foundation, and now he sits on a board that he has no experience
Right.
at all being there, and a
Right.
very, very important board.
Yeah, and what we could do is, in summary, with something like that, is it's really quite simple. What Hillary and Bill Clinton have done is form a foundation with the word charity. Okay, and that foundation was for the purpose of her being able to, with the influence she had as Secretary of State, being able to raise funds for that foundation by favoring those who gave to the foundation.
It's almost a form of money laundering, isn't it?
Well, that's what it is, or you
Yeah.
can call it bribery or whatever
Yeah.
you want to call it. But here's a critical thing: not only from corporations, but also American corporations, but also foreign corporations and foreign governments.
like Saudi Arabia. I mean, and
Exactly.
Pakistan, and
Right.
these people that gave
Right.
over $25 million to this foundation
Right.
that we know is special interest.
Right.
But what bothers me even more is, in wake of what happened in Orlando, that she would stand up the next day and say that she was for gay rights, that she was in favor of gay rights. Now, this is a country who kills people for being gay.
Well, she's totally hypocritical.
Absolutely.
And she's a total liar, and the reason is because she really doesn't have a conscience. You know, people with a conscience can't lie like she can,
No. And I think
or like he can.
Yes, yes.
You see, and but if you look at that situation with the Orlando deal, that she comes out like that, just the total opposite.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And so what's happening right at this moment, what's scary about it, let's just say, for an example, she does become president.
Heaven
And
forbid.
and she's received all this money from all these countries the way that she did. In other words, pay for play or something.
Yes.
You see what I mean? And can you imagine the ability of a country, you name it, being able to blackmail her?
Absolutely.
And think what it does to the American
That's-
interest as far as
Yeah.
national security.
She sold out for her own best interest. She
Right.
sold this country out,
Right.
is what she did, and she put all of us in danger.
Right. All of us are in danger to this, and getting in more danger.
And that goes back to you and I talked about this earlier, and you so eloquently stated that we wouldn't have ISIS today if it wasn't for Obama and Clinton.
That's right.
We wouldn't have them.
Well, never heard of that word before.
Yeah,
you know
exactly. How
And
sad is that?
Think of the thousands of people, not just Americans, but I'm talking about the thousands and thousands of people that've been slaughtered because of the actions of Hillary Clinton
And
when
Barack Obama.
and Barack Obama when as president and her as Secretary of State. I mean, it just, if you really look at it in those ways, and then look at it in the ways of this, our financial security. I mean, the fact that our president could be possibly blackmailed down the road.
Yes.
I mean, let's face it, I'm a foreign country, and I gave so much money. She's going to have to march to a certain tune because I got
Absolutely.
too much on her.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
That's all going to come out. Absolutely.
and
yes.
that's starting to come out. And thank God Trump opened it up the other day. But you'll notice that the media is very reluctant.
Of course
And let's
they
get
are.
into that a little bit
Yeah.
because
The liberal media.
the
Yeah, let's
liberal
talk
media.
about that.
But you know, I look at that and I say, you know, we can keep badmouthing that liberal media, but really, they're using that because it's also conservatives that are the elites that that do not want Trump. Why do they universally do not want Trump? It's because they are all doing what Clinton has been doing in a
Yes.
certain way. They're all doing it.
And Trump can't be bought.
And he can't be bought.
That's the whole bottom line
All
right
he,
there.
all he, in fact, you made a great statement there, because as a voter, because what we are really is like a jury ready to convict. Okay,
Yeah.
that we get to do that with our vote. All right, so when we sit there, and all I had to hear is when he said, "I can't be bought because I'm using my own money." Doesn't the implication mean everyone else is bought?
Absolutely, that's the implication.
Yeah, everybody else is bought, but I can't be bought. And the things that go through Congress and so forth, it's benefiting big corporations who are, we're talking about billions, possibly trillions, And go ahead.
I'm curious. And I value your opinion so much. How much special interest money, if you had to guess, would you guess Hillary Clinton has received through that foundation?
Oh, through the foundation,
'Cause I heard
it's got to be in the 200s of millions.
That's what I heard. I
Yeah.
heard probably $250 million.
And I've also heard, of course, I've heard two figures, that all that's ever been given to charity has been either 6 million or 15 million. Out of all.
Where did that money go, folks?
Yeah, where did the
You know?
money go?
Yeah, I think we all know.
And they've used that to enrich themselves, and they've used the country, and it's so telling in a TV ad that she has when she
Tells.
says vote for her. She has in the TV ad, vote for her. Let's look at that ad for a moment, or think of it, and then
Okay.
look what Trump says. Vote for the American people.
Oh my goodness, big difference.
Big
Major
difference.
Major
Vote
difference.
for the American people. It's the American people that we're talking about, not her. You see,
So like we said, I mean, how selfish, She sacrificed us for her selfish gain.
every one of us, and what I don't, or can't hardly imagine how anyone could vote for Hillary Clinton.
And if they know
I
the
don't care
truth,
if you're a Democrat.
Yeah.
I don't care what you are. How do you vote for somebody like that? Okay, now I was from a town of Lemoore. You was from Chowchilla. Okay, now we have someone running for mayor. Okay, for Chowchilla or the mayor of Lemoore, but they're being investigated criminally by the FBI.
that would cut it off right there. With
I mean,
anyone
would you
else.
vote for the mayor?
No.
You would not vote for the mayor. Then I got to ask you the question: why would you vote for Hillary Clinton for president of the United States? Why is the president of the United States, which is
More
the most important
More
office
important
in
than
the
the mayor
world?
of a city that has
But
less than 10,000 people.
Anybody coming from any town, ask them if they'd vote for mayor, someone who was running for mayor, but was being criminally investigated by the FBI.
And of course, they're going to say no.
They're going to say no, but they'll turn around, and that just blows me away when
You know,
I
I,
hear
s-
that.
I see a slow trend in this country, and I get most of my information, like everybody else,
Sure.
from the media. But I see through the media a slow trend of people starting to wake up.
Oh, absolutely, they are. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Because the American people, as a whole, I mean, it's a great bunch of people, period, and they're not stupid,
No,
totally,
not at all.
And I always look at somebody that's coming up with something that I kind of think is pretty stupid. I think, well, maybe it's just because they're not aware. There's a difference between being naive and stupid,
Absolutely. there is.
or gullible and stupid. I mean, we all been that way at times. But my point is that I think that the American people are becoming more aware, and speech like Trump gave the other day, which didn't get the kind of thing it should have been in a great big venue or something, but it's out there, and people can look it up, read it, or something like that. But it really lays the Clinton thing for people to at least ask the question.
There's something else I've noticed, like everyone has been battering him from the beginning. I mean, he opened over a year ago when a year and a week, I think, since he made his declaration to decide to run
Right,
for president. Well, and from that very time, the media and everyone else has battered him. And now people, it's almost like it's immune to the people. They hear this and they think, well, this is another bashing of Donald Trump. It doesn't mean anything. And
That's right.
I
Right.
see this more and more happening right
Well,
now.
it's because it's common sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then people start thinking this way, and they start saying, if they know who Trump is and all this, or whether it was you, me, or anybody, right? And they pretty soon, it's not necessarily who it is, it's what's being said.
And you hit it. When you
know.
were on my show a couple of weeks ago, you made a statement about common sense that just rang true with a lot of the people.
Yeah, and I think as far as the election goes, if we're having a trouble with it, I think you just sit there and use two words: incompetent and competent. And then you contrast what Hillary has done in her life, which is absolutely nothing. She doesn't own a factory. She doesn't own a patent on some kind of a .com deal. Well, I mean, what has she actually ever done? She's never had a job but a government job.
That's right, her entire life.
I mean,
She was first lady. I mean,
and just like Obama can go down for a manager at the McDonald's and wouldn't qualify.
That's right.
You see,
They don't
so
have
when
any
you
work
ask,
experience.
what has she done? As far as what does she own? What has she built? What has she done? Nothing.
Now compare that to Donald Trump.
Who's built billions of dollars and all over the world.
Yeah.
And how did he do that? He had to do it because he knows what he's doing.
And yet they'll sit there and they'll talk. Well, he filed bankruptcy. So what? So what? He overcame that like he overcame everything else that's happened in his life.
Well, and the thing about that is bankruptcy. There's bankruptcy where you personally go bankrupt and you're broke, right? But bankruptcy is a method of getting rid of
It's a reorganization.
of
Exactly.
debts with bankers or that may not be making any sense themselves.
Yeah.
I've seen people have to go bankrupt. And this is what always got me. I was in agriculture. The banks would bankrupt a farm of a guy that the only problem was maybe it rained at the wrong time or froze at the wrong time. You see, and he would bank all this money. The bank forces him into bankruptcy, and then turn around. Now the bank's got the property. What are they going to do with it?
They can't do anything with it.
So what do they go do? The best farmer in the world was the guy farming it.
They go back to him.
No, they don't. They bring in somebody that doesn't know anything about it, and now he's running the deal. And the guy, if they would have just said, "Hey, here's how we're going to do this,"
It's so simple, huh? Back to common sense
Back
that
to
you've
common
talked about
sense,
so
yeah.
much. Well, Gary, I think we're going to take a break here.
Okay.
And we'll be back in 2 and 2.
Wages down. It's rigged by big businesses who want to leave our country, fire our workers, and sell their products back into the United States with absolutely no consequences for them. It's rigged by bureaucrats who are trapping kids in failing schools. It's rigged against you, the American people. Hillary Clinton, and as you know, most people know she's a world-class liar. Just look at her pathetic email server statement, or her phony landing. Or her phony landing in Bosnia, where she said she was under attack, and the attack turned out to be young girls handing her flowers. A total and look, this was one of the buttes. A total and self-serving lie. Brian Williams' career was destroyed for saying less. Just remember that. Yesterday, she even tried to attack me and my many businesses. But here, and this is the way it is the bottom line. I started off in Brooklyn, New York, not so long ago, with a small loan, and built a business that today is worth well over $10 billion. And that's the kind of thinking we need in our leadership of our country. I've always had a talent for building businesses and, importantly, for creating jobs. That's a talent our country desperately needs. I'm running for president to end the unfairness and to put you, the American worker, first. It's about time. We're going to put America first, and we're going to make America great again. This election will decide whether we are ruled by the people or by the politicians. Here is my promise to the American voter. If I'm elected president, I will end the special interest monopoly in Washington, D.C. Very important. The other candidate in this race has spent her entire life making money for special interests, and I will tell you, she's made plenty of money for them, and she's been taking plenty of money out for herself. Hillary Clinton has perfected the politics of personal profit and even theft. She ran the State Department like her own personal hedge fund, doing favors for oppressive regimes, and many others, and really many, many others, in exchange for cash. Pure and simple, folks. Pure and simple. Then when she left, she made $21.6 million giving speeches to Wall Street banks.
Yeah, great guest, Gary Miguel. And I wanted you to see that. And one of the reasons why is what scares me about Hillary Clinton are a lot of things. One thing that scares me is that if this woman is elected president of the United States, I think we'll lose our first two amendments. I really do. Our freedom of speech and our right to bear arms. And that, to me, would be a disaster. In fact, I'd like for Gary has a little bit to say about this.
Well, yeah, because right now the arm, the arm deal is right now in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're debating it and so forth, and they're trying to chip away at not only the Second Amendment, but the Constitution.
Absolutely.
And what you have to look at and think of it, and I got to think about that the other day, because we don't know to what end these people will go to stay in power. And I'm talking about both Democrats and Republican, but I'm talking about the elite people.
Yes.
Okay, the big corporations, and we'll just make it very simple. The big corporations, there's no place in the world that will manufacture widgets, or like a baseball hat or something,
Yeah.
let's say China or Mexico or something like that. Those corporations are owned by American companies, Americans, right? We go over there and we get this built over there, but we have to have a market for our product. And all over the world, we're looking to sell this.
Yes.
But who really has the money to buy it?
We do.
The United States.
That's right.
So then we say, why? And think about this. There is no country that the standard of living as a whole is equal to ours.
None.
Okay? Now look at this. We have a lot of people, of course, it's up getting close to 50% on welfare. But what's the welfare people? They're living the highest standard of living anywhere in the world when compared to other nations as a whole.
Absolutely. I heard if you made $1,200 a year, you were wealthier than 60% of the population in the
Right.
world.
I've figured it out for a buddy of mine.
Mm-hmm.
He'd have to go out and get a job that paid $32,000 a year to equal what he's receiving today without working, and he'd rather work.
Well, yes.
But where's he going to find a $32,000 job? So my point is this: if we own that company and we're having it manufactured, let's say China, and we need a market, who's got the money? The United States.
Absolutely.
And all these people on welfare can certainly afford my $5 hat or $10 hat, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where well, they can't, but they're getting $1,200 a year.
Yeah. No.
So we sit it, but who is really paying for all of that, for that hat? Who's paying for it is the taxpayer,
Absolutely.
the American people. And who are the bulk of the taxes come from the working
Class.
American people,
Yes.
right? So now the money goes from them, from the people that are paying the taxes, goes to the people on welfare so they can afford to buy our widget.
Absolutely.
So you see what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Okay, now if you're the big company that owns all that, well, you certainly don't want Donald Trump in there.
No.
You follow me?
No, you don't.
You just don't want Donald Trump in there. But then, like, getting back to, it's very serious for them. You can imagine these people have had control for probably at minimum of 60, 70, maybe 100 years for all we know. I mean, I just now becoming aware of it.
Yes.
We're just as a people becoming aware of just how crooked and corrupt our government has gotten to the point of being.
You and I talked about that the last time you were here.
And so
About
when
the
we look
corruption
at
in government.
Hillary Clinton, those people, I don't care, there again, I don't care if they're Republican or what, they'd rather have her than Donald Trump.
Sure they would.
I mean, there's no question about it, because all of a sudden what they're seeing is losing that huge advantage
Lots of money.
and
I mean,
lots of money. So where does that's 1%? Let's say the money goes to that elite. Well, now maybe the American people get a share of that, and they
That's-
don't want that.
No, and that's
they don't want
exactly
that.
what Mr. Trump has in
And
mind.
that's right. And so all he had to say when he gave that opening speech was, "I'm not being bought by anybody." I mean, shouldn't that be the clue to everyone to say?
It was for me. I mean,
That was a light bulb went
yeah,
on.
exactly. It was like, wake up, people, wake up. That was the clue.
And so when we consider what's at stake with these elites, I'm telling you, the media is owned by them, controlled by them, and we as American people have been controlled by those people for a long time.
Absolutely.
America wasn't built on welfare.
No.
America was built on people working, opportunity for jobs, opportunity for businesses and small businesses and so forth. That's how America was built.
Exactly.
It wasn't built everybody sitting around on welfare.
No, no.
And most welfare people that I've talked to anyway would rather not be on welfare
Of course they would.
because it demeans you.
And you and I talked about that
Yeah.
too. And that's what it's done. It's taken the pride out
Right.
of people. It hasn't done what
Exactly.
it was supposed to do anyway. It
And
never
when-
did.
That's right. And when I hear these politicians like Hillary Clinton or Obama, we'll take care of you. We'll
Yeah.
take care of you. Come
Well,
on,
they-
I don't want you taking care of me. Stop pandering me.
Exactly.
Stop pandering me and let
Exactly.
me. I can take care of myself.
Yes.
But I can't take care of myself if you're putting a yoke on my neck. You see what I mean?
And that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
Gary, would you talk about Gary has this. He talked to me briefly about the EBT.
Oh,
this
yeah.
this is most interesting.
Well,
Gary.
this is kind of a conspiracy deal, but there is talk, or has been talk, of course, Obama carries on as president. How does he do that?
This is interesting.
martial law. He can expand his presidency through declaring martial law. Okay, now
Now,
let's.
how does he get to that?
How
point,
does he get to
Marcelo?
that point? Okay, for one thing, we're bringing what's been brought up right now. Everybody's supposed to be scared of everybody walking around with a gun in their pocket. But guns in people's pocket is there for protection.
Absolutely.
You see, it's there for protection. Okay, now let's equate that. What I fear more than I do somebody walking around with a gun in their pocket, I fear somebody walking around with an EBT card in their pocket. Because that EBT card is not there for protection, it's there because I'm hungry.
Absolutely.
Okay? Now, can you imagine all the EBT cards in the nation and the country all of a sudden, because our debt limit is where it is, EBT cards are rejected at the grocery store
Oh my goodness.
all over the nation at once.
Chaos.
Chaos, I mean within right now.
And that gives.
Now you're standing there in line with grocery carts going way back all these lines. Let's say 50% of them are EBT cards, and they're all getting rejected. And that baby at home's out of milk, and this is out of eggs. We're out of this. Come on, over just like that.
Absolutely.
You have chaos far greater than anybody walking in with a gun.
That gives him the right to declare martial law.
There you go.
And he can be there as far. That is scary, but it's very, very possible.
Well, you know, it kind of sounds way out and so forth, but then is it way out, or is it something that we should be concerned? Of course.
I think we should absolutely be concerned.
Because when I look around the store now, I sit there, boy, I hope they honor that gal's EBT card, or I
Yes.
hope they open that guy's EBT card. You know, I'm not worried about the guy walking around the store
No.
getting groceries, got a gun in his
And
pocket.
you're right. This is much scarier. This is much,
far
much scarier.
Can you
know?
imagine? Well, here's what happened. This is what got me thinking that way. This is what happened in one of the Walmart stores. The lady went in, she put her EBT card, and it got rejected, and she trashed the place.
Oh my! I heard a little bit about that.
Yeah, and I often went, because there was a couple other places, I often wondered, wasn't that maybe a little test run to see just what would happen and how quick?
Gary, that's very possible. That could very possibly happen. I
I
know
mean-
it might sound a little far-fetched to most people, but it's
Well,
like
let's
you
just
said,
see how
is it?
let's see how far fetched it really is. All you got to do is turn your TV in and watch what's going on in Venezuela. I mean, we got positive proof. We're not sitting here hocus pocus.
Yeah.
Turn on Venezuela, store shelves are empty. How quick would the store shelves be empty if that happened here, like that,
Yes, they
overnight?
would. Yes, they would.
Because you're not going to just, well, I better get some more, all right? And then how quick would it happen that those stores are not going to be restocked? Who's going to restock it?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be stealing right out of the trucks.
Sure they are.
And then this is why you want your guns, okay? Because when that is all said and done, you're hungry. Now you're going house to house to get a loaf of bread.
Yes.
And you better have a gun in your house to protect yourself when all of a sudden your door doesn't get knocked on. It gets knocked in. And then that first dash is to your refrigerator.
Absolutely.
But if you have a gun, you can protect yourself. Remember, guns are for protection. EBT cards is because you're hungry.
What a great analogy.
You know.
Makes sense. It
And
really, really makes
Which
sense.
one is the more powerful, or which one would you be the more scared of?
The EBT cards.
Absolutely.
I'm not afraid of the man walking out
No.
there with the gun. He's not after me.
No, he's
You
just
know?
protection.
That's right. He's doing the same thing. I've got one too,
Yeah.
and it's for protection.
Right.
You know? I
Big
can't.
difference.
I find it so difficult that this administration, as well as the Hillary administration, that's hopefully not coming, but that they put so much emphasis on doing away with the Second Amendment, and they haven't said that per se, but you get rid of the guns, what's that done? It's
Well,
destroyed the Second Amendment.
It's
you know?
destroyed. Of course it does.
Yeah.
And it also, what it really does, it puts you at jeopardy. Every household is at jeopardy
Mm-hmm.
because all you got to do is turn around and make a few of those EBT cards rejected it,
Absolutely.
and nobody able to protect themselves in that event.
Mm-hmm.
It's martial law, it's dictatorship, and it's taken over.
It certainly happened. That is scary. That is.
Yeah,
is-
I
is
do.
very
I
scary.
worry more about something like that happening.
Well, you know, the American people, too, I mean, our right to bear arms, the Second Amendment. I had heard a couple of weeks ago that, you know, had people, say people were allowed to carry guns, say people were allowed to carry a concealed weapon. If you're in a situation maybe at a baseball game, maybe at a concert, maybe at a theater like what happened in Colorado, and something like this happens, not only do you have a great chance of protecting your loved ones, your relatives that you're with,
That's right.
but you also have a chance to take this idiot out that's
Exactly.
out taking people, you know. And I think it's necessary. I think we that is, to me, and I don't know about you, Gary, that to me, along with the First Amendment, are the two most important amendments we have in the
Exactly.
Constitution.
Right.
You know.
You go into a restaurant here in Fresno, or you go into like a Quick Way or something, you know, 7-Eleven type thing. Okay, you go in there. Now think about this. You're sitting at a restaurant. Let's just start with that. And you've got the owner or the maitre d' or somebody up there at the head of the cash register, where the cash register is. Okay, now, wouldn't you feel safer if there's a gun in that cash register sitting in that restaurant?
Yes.
As opposed to you walk in, hey, you have guns in your restaurant? Oh, no, we don't have guns. No, sir. Thank you. You go to the
Yes.
one, you have a gun in your, oh, yeah, I got a .357. Okay,
Then you feel,
I'll have
you
a
feel-
hamburger.
yeah, right. You feel a lot better eating that hamburger knowing that you're partially protected anyway.
Exactly. So, you know, it's like
Excuse me.
it's like when you think about it in a public place. My gosh! Oh yeah, that's one thing we don't allow in our restaurant. There's no guns in here. Oh, fine. You eat your own hot dog.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go down here to the Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah.
So maybe this guy has a gun.
Yeah. But it's a little things like that, and if that is done away with, then we have the things that happen in Orlando happening at a much more rapid rate.
Yes.
I think. I could be wrong in that.
Now, that's kind of the reverse, but that's kind of my idea of gun control.
Yeah.
You want gun control, then leave the Second Amendment in place.
Right.
Okay. Allow us as Americans to bear arms. That our founding fathers, they said that there was a purpose for that.
Right.
You know.
Well, a gun is for protection.
Yeah.
It's also for hunting. It's also for entertainment.
Yeah, recreation.
Right,
Yeah.
recreation. You know, it serves a lot of purpose.
Yes, it does.
You know, see, now, obviously, people can kill somebody with a gun, but you can kill somebody with a knife. You can kill somebody with a dozen ways, right? And that isn't what we're talking about.
No.
Okay, because you're not going to take the gun. You can take a gun away from every American there is, but the guy that knows how to get one, he's king.
It goes right back to what you and I said when
Right.
you were here last time.
Right.
You know, gun control, people, does not work because the crooks can get guns. How is that controlling the guns?
Okay,
It's not.
we're in a class, let's say. There's 100 in our class. Every single one of those people have a gun, okay? Now we go to the class, and there's 100 people. No one has a gun except one person. Now, who controls the class?
He does. The man with the gun controls the class.
Who controls the other class? You know, a polite society is an armed society.
Say that again, Gary. That's brilliant.
I say a polite society is an armed society. My gosh, if
Absolutely.
you know everybody there's got a gun, you're going to be pretty nice to them.
You
aren't you?
doggone right you are. We're back to logic. We're back to common sense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and so that's why I think that that's an important thing for people to get across to themselves and think about. Wait a minute, if I start thinking of guns now, because the media's going to blast you with this. I mean, they never are going to show you something like I just said.
No.
But if
they're
you
not.
think of it, guns are protection. Then you think about what you really maybe should think about fearing: EBT cards, because I'm
It's
hungry.
very possible. It's very possible, and that to me is, like you said, much more frightening.
Oh, it's much
than the
more
guy
frightening.
walking around with the guns.
And I think that when we consider the thing that really is going on here, and what we have to see and realize, is that these people, when I say these people, I'm talking about the elite establishment, call it whatever you want. I call it uniparty. Okay?
That's a good term
Yeah, they're uniparty. They're
because they're both
yeah,
Republican.
and they both have one interest, and that is to make money. And that means control. And that's why you're not seeing the media treat Trump correctly with any kind of balance or fairness. That's why you see, how come the Republicans have never talked about what Trump did about Hillary? They've known it.
Oh, sure they did.
They've known it all along. But they're in on it. Okay, now when we consider Hillary's, when we talk about her foundation, how crooked it is and all that, they're all doing the same thing. They're all doing the
Yes.
same thing.
Yes.
They own the deal. Okay, you go to Congress, you come out of there, they don't even have the same health care plan that we do or retirement that we do.
Of course they don't.
I mean,
They're-
wake up, people. I mean, what are we doing? You know what I mean? All you need is one thing, common sense. One guy's up there. I don't care if it's Trump. Let's say it's Ray Jones running. He says, look, nobody is funding me, and I'm not taking any money from anyone. All you have to do is just say, well, I'm going
Pretty
to listen to this guy.
Yes. Yeah. This man can't be
He
bought.
can't
you
be
know?
bought. There you go. And
It's
so
just
I think it's
amazing.
if you really get down to common sense and forget, I don't care what you said, Ray. I don't care how you did this, and maybe I don't like the car you drive. I don't like this, and I don't like, but I better not gonna pay attention here, because what is my other choice?
Yes.
You know.
You really don't have a choice.
I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Not if I'm going to be an American.
That's right.
Not if I'm going to have an America.
Don't you find, Gary, that, to me, it's because we're all a part of this history, that's
Right,
happening
right.
around here. This is one of the most exciting things that
Well,
I've
I
ever
think so.
been a part of.
I do
and
too.
I'm loving it. And I'm a conservative, very extreme conservative Republican, as are you.
Right.
And I see the things that frighten me. Like you said, the guy with the EBT card. I mean, that is a very possible scenario.
And it can be done so easily.
Mm-hmm.
Really. You just don't have to fund it. Reject those cards for very long.
No.
A couple hours, you got riots.
All over this country?
Immediately.
Right now, from Los Angeles to New
Immediately.
York. Yeah, right now. You're right. And
Yeah.
that gives him the excuse. I'm going to declare martial law.
And then plus 6 months.
That's right. That's right. Plus 6 months. It's scary. Gary, I think we're going to take another break
Okay.
right now, and we'll be back in 2 and 2. Hi, I'm back with my guest, Gary Miguel, and we're discussing a lot of things, as you well know. I want you to know that if you'd like to call in and talk to either Gary or I, please feel free. We welcome callers. We welcome your opinion. Your opinion does not have to agree with me, okay? Your opinion is your own, you know. This is America. First Amendment, come on, people. Gary?
Well, you know, we talked about a number of things. Of course, the Second Amendment. The First Amendment, I think, is already getting beat up.
Oh, yes, it is.
Now, how free is it when one part of it is being controlled by the same interest of one party, or one unit party,
Yeah,
I call it.
yeah.
Okay, now those people, they have pundits. I mean, that's their job. So they got to do what they're being told by who owns them. And if you look at who all the owners are of the major media, they all have an agenda which lines their own pockets in one way or another.
Certainly they do.
And where you do get, I remember my first exposure to something different than the normal media, was Rush Limbaugh. That was my first real exposure to where he
Kind of mine, too, and when I think about it.
When you think about it. Okay, now you're seeing a lot of radio shows that just
Are
like
similar, yeah.
and
Hannity being one.
and Kennedy being one, Lou Dobbs is another.
Lou Dobbs is another.
And where they're trying to get a little bit more balanced, you know. But I noticed Joe Scarborough, which looked like he was backing Trump, but somewhere he got the word, and he had to change his tune regarding Trump. Same thing with Megyn Kelly.
Megyn Kelly, yeah.
She does real well. She's like she's going to be balanced, and all of a sudden somebody gave her the word to, and she starts banging the deal. So we're not going to get a balanced, unbiased deal. We're just not going to. So
No,
I
it's
think
not.
what we have to do is just accept it, and then start using our own head, and then say, well, maybe what I can do is just get back to that. Who's being competent? Who's incompetent? Who's being bought? Who's not being bought? And who's keeping me free?
Yes.
And who is protecting me? And if you look at the government, the main purpose is to protect the people.
Absolutely.
I mean, all this other stuff is fringe.
Yeah.
But, you know, and then we look at the globalists, and when that's really what we're talking about, is globalists. We don't have the globalists. I mean, we don't have the sovereigns that own what we think is important, which is the media. That's all globalists.
Sure it is.
The politicians are all globalists. There's these, like, say, the Republicans that are in that globalist sphere. Those people would rather have Hillary Clinton by far.
It comes down to special interest.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is, and it's gotten to the point. In fact, I heard a politician the other day said he's spending 30% of his time now raising money so he can get reelected.
Exactly.
I mean, it's more and more. And all these people, these congressmen and senators, they're just owned by people. And their job is to get reelected so that we could keep what we want rolling.
Yeah.
And this Hillary Foundation.
Yes.
We're-
Clinton Foundation.
Yeah, we look at that Clinton Foundation. In some shape, manner, and form, every one of those elites have a Hillary Foundation. That's why you don't hear nothing about it.
No.
I mean, from them,
Yeah.
you don't hear them hearing about it.
It scares me to death that here's a woman who has the possibility of being elected, and she accepts all this money from a country that treats women.
I can't get over that.
It blows me like
That-
like second-class citizens.
They kill them.
And they kill them. If you've got a male-dominated society who says, "Do what I want, do what
Right.
these are the rules. If you don't adhere to these rules, we execute you."
Now, how does a woman who I can understand would like to see a woman president, would like to see this, how in the world can she support or vote and not feel embarrassed, ashamed, or a fool?
Absolutely.
Because
What does that say? What does that say about her?
it says too much about me.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. If I'm a woman, I've been going that route. I'd like to see a woman and this and that, and then I get somebody like Hillary Clinton who is, like you mentioned, with the other countries that abuse women. And the manner they do, it's horrible.
Oh, of
I mean,
course
it's
it is.
beyond, we don't even understand it.
Yeah.
It's so bad. And then turn around, and I'm going to sit there. What do I think? It says about me, not Hillary Clinton. Now
Yes.
you're talking about me.
Absolutely.
You see
Gary.
what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because I'm going to be ashamed. I'm going to be embarrassed. I'm going to be feel extremely foolish.
Yes.
But you know the problem with that? It's easier to be made a fool than it is to be convinced that you've been fooled.
Because nobody wants to stand up and say, guess what? I was a fool.
Yeah.
No one wants to do that.
Right.
Good point, Gary. Very good
But
point.
that's the thing that I wonder about is sometimes is how in the world can someone, how do you do that? I mean, how do you go in there and mark that ballot with an X, knowing full well what she accepts, not necessarily accepts, or condones,
Condones.
as long as she gets the money.
Yeah.
She doesn't-
Like we said earlier. She sold out.
oh,
she
she's
sold
been
out-
sold out
yeah. Yeah.
since her and Bill got together.
Exactly. They sold out. They sold their kind. I mean, you said it. It should be treason, in a sense. And it is treason.
is treason.
It is treason.
Definitely against America's best interest.
Sure it is.
And look what's happening, like with the emails.
Mm-hmm.
Can she be? She puts herself in jeopardy of being blackmailed if elected president.
I heard today, or yesterday, I can't remember, the day before from one of the media sources, that I didn't know there was that many emails. I mean, I'm afraid to say it on the air here because it was just a phenomenal amount of emails. And I thought it was a mistake when they said it. Apparently it's not. But it goes into the hundreds of thousands.
The purpose of that email, private email, was so she could build her foundation. It had nothing to do with its convenience and all this kind of stuff. Come on, what's inconvenient about learning how to do the military way or this
Yeah.
way or that way? Everybody
Yeah.
does that.
And she was, and she was warned countless number
Right.
of times. And she still continued for over 2 years to do this.
Right.
Because she thought she was,
And Obama condoned it.
well, of course he did.
He was sending her email on and
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely, which is one reason why he has got to back her. He
That's
has no
exactly
choice.
right.
He has no choice. She'll bring him right down with her.
Exactly. And it's kind of interesting how that game could be played, I mean, at the end, she gets indicted, and then he pardons her, and he pardons himself. And,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
you
he's
know,
still president. So.
Man, the EBT cards would be saved.
We wouldn't have chaos, and we wouldn't have martial law, and
Right.
we wouldn't have more of this present
I mean, this thing,
administration. I mean, my goodness.
And it's going to get, I think it's going to, why hasn't the FBI come up with something? My God, if they were investigating anybody about
It would have been done by
oh
now.
my God, yeah.
And I hear that they'll stand up and say well, we're doing this, and this, and she's not above the law. Well, she's been above the law so far.
She's been above the law since Arkansas.
Yes,
That's how far she's been above the law since Arkansas.
absolutely. Well, Gary, I think we're going to take another break,
Okay.
and we'll come back and probably close, and we're going to be back in two. I am back with my guest, Gary. And Gary, I enjoy your being here so much, and I want you. I'm going to
This
put you.
is
I'm
fun.
going to kind of put you on the line here. I want you to tell me you're going to come back.
Oh, sure I
Because
will.
I'm going to have people saying, "When's that guy coming back?"
Well,
Like he
you
did
know
last
what it is? It's going to in the afternoon, going to your favorite watering hole, sitting on the bar stool, talking to the bartender.
I love it. What a great, thank you. What a great way to put it. Thank you very much. Every week I kind of close with a thing called A Little Something to Think About. And this week there's a short poem from Maya Angelou that says, be the cloud, the rainbow in someone else's cloud. And I think that's very important. And I found the best way to do something great for yourself is to start by doing something great for someone else. So until we joyously meet again on next Thursday, heaven's blessings.